Hi guys, good day. I'm Ronald Gante Jr. from BSMT2 student from UCMTC, and today I'm gonna discuss about the final project of Marenv 211. There are two topics to be discussed. The first topic, which is the different equipment for environmental protection, and the second topic is the different equipment that is used and required by the annexes. Marenv 211 project and final. So the first topic is the different equipment for environmental protection. So oil discharge monitoring equipment, or ODME, is oil discharge monitoring equipment which is used to check and monitor oil is discharge follow related rule Marpol 7378 when a tanker discharges the seawater from the slope tank, where seawater used to clean the tanker after unloading the cargo to be prepared to ship other kind of cargo has been stored. The purpose of ODME is to discharge as much water as we can, but to not discharge oily water exceeding the limit of Marpol regulation. So kani siyang equipment kay it is used to check and monitor oil that is discharged from the ship or from the tanker discharges the water to the slope tank. So kani siya nasa ni siya mga limits on water exceeding the limit of Marpol regulation. Flow rate or flow meter. ODME computing unit gets the flow rate from flow meter. A small sample line goes from the main line, pass through the flow meter, and goes back to the main line. Flow meter calculates the flow in M3HR and gives this value to the computing unit through the signal cable. So measuring ppm, it is analyzing unit. We measure ppm in a water sample. The sample water is passed through a quartz glass tube. A sample from the discharged water need to pass through the measuring unit. This job is done by a sample pump. Sample pump will take the sample from the discharge line before the discharge valves. This sample is sent to analyzing unit for measuring the oil content and then sent back into the same discharge line. So mao ni siya ang kaning the process of how it is done. So the next equipment is what is an oil water interface detector. So according to IMO's resolution of Marine Environment Protection Committee 5/8, oil tankers shall be provided with effective oil water interface detectors approved by the administration for a rapid and accurate determination of the oil or water interface in slope tanks, and shall be available for use in other tanks where the separation of oil water is effected and from which it is intended to discharge effluent direct to the sea. An oil or water interface detector is an electrical instrument for detecting the boundary between oil and water in tanks. However, the equipment is not limited to oil or water application, but can be used whenever an accurate interface control between two liquids is necessary. Though generally both fixed and portable type interface detector are an important part of cargo operation equipment on ships. The portable ones are more widely used because of the ease of handling and maintenance. How interface detector on ships work. So the interface detector consists of two main parts: the sensor, antenna, and display control system. Interface detectors works by measuring the difference of voltages according to the conductivity of the water. The interface is detected by a sensor attached of the weight, which is lowered in the tank by measuring the energy absorption of the fluid surrounding the sensor, and the interface detector senses the emulsion regardless of density and viscosity, temperature, pressure, or pH. So mo na siya ang kung saan pag-work sa interface detector. Let's proceed to another equipment. What is oily water separator, or OWS? So, an oily water separator, or OWS, is a piece of equipment specific to the shipping or marine industry rather. It is used to separate oil and water mixtures into their separate components. They are used to separate oil from oily wastewater, such as bilge water, before the wastewater is discharged into the environment. This discharge of wastewater must comply with the requirements laid out in MARPOL 7378. So kani siya, lahi sa niya oily water separator. So gi-separate niya ang oil o ang wastewater. So ang katong usa na tong kuan kaning dari the interface detector is to separate water from oil. So these discharges of wastewater must comply with the requirements laid out in MARPOL 7378. Bilge water is a near unavoidable product of shipboard's operation. Oil leaks from running machinery such as diesel generators, air compressors, and the main propulsion engine. Modern OWS have alarms and automatic closure devices which are activated when the oil storage content of the wastewater exceeds a certain limit, 15 ppm, 15 cm3 of oil in 1 m3 of water. So mo na siya ang murag process po niya. So what is the purpose of OWS? The primary purpose of a shipboard oily water separator is to separate oil and other contaminants that could be harmful for the oceans. Each OWS must be able to achieve clean bilge water under 15 ppm of type C oil or heavily emulsified oil and any other contaminants that may be found. All oil content monitors (OCM) must be tamper-proof. Also, whenever the OWS is being cleaned out, the OCM must be active. So what is a port facility reception? The merchant fleet of ships in the shipping industry is generally divided into two main categories: dry ships, which carry dry cargo in bulk, and wet ships, which carries liquid cargo in bulk. Both of these type of ships generate oily residue mixture and garbage during their normal shipping and cargo carrying operation at ship and at port. The oil residue mixture and garbage generated by the vessel cannot be discharged directly to the sea as per the law to avoid marine pollution, and hence they are disposed to the port reception facility all around the world. So each industry na siya taga-port na siya kuan port facility reception, which is kaning magkuan dira magkuan ba kaning ilabay ang mga basura kung katong na mga dili ikalabay sa at sea. What is Ship Oil Pollution Emergency Plan, or SOPEP? So it is a prevention plan carried on board tankers greater than 150 gross tonnage and other vessels greater than 400 gross tonnage. So in this plan, you'll get an overview of possible procedures in case of an oil spill and what is the purpose of the plan. So the Shipboard Oil Pollution Emergency Plan, or SOPEP, is to be seen as information from the owners to the master of a particular ship. So it shall advise the master how to react in case of an oil spill to prevent or at least mitigate negative effects on the environment. So International Convention for the control and management of ships, ballast water, and sediments. So BWM. So entry into force on 12 months after ratification by 30 states, representing 35% of world merchants shipping tonnage. In order to reduce the harmful effect of the marine environment that is spread through aquatic microorganisms transferred from one area to another through ballasting operations of the ship. So the International Maritime Organization or IMO adopted a convention in order to control and manage ships' ballast and sedimentation on 13th February 2004. So kani siya nakuha na siya nga kuan in order to control and manage ships' ballast and sedimentation. Advantage of ballast water management plan. With the help of a proper ballast management plan and some additional information, operational delays can be avoided, which will help to save time and money. Reporting for requirements to different post-state authority is simplified. And the most important of all is that a safe ballast exchange can be carried out anywhere in the world. So, free ni siya sa tanan. We are done in our topic 1, which is the different equipments. So, let's proceed to the topic 2, which is the different documents required by the annexes. So, first, the International Oil Pollution Prevention or IOPP certificate. So, it is required by MARPOL Annex 1, Regulation for the Prevention of Pollution by Oil. Regulation 6, oil tankers of 150 gross tonnage and above and other ships of 400 gross tonnage and above. So, what surveys are required? Initial survey, renewal survey every 5 years, intermediate survey not earlier than 6 months before and not later than 6 months after the halfway date of the period and validity of the certificate. So, annual survey within 3 months before or after each anniversary date of the certificate. Supplement to the International Oil Pollution Prevention Certificate. So, supplement to the IOPP, the equipment listed. These records will be permanently attached to the IOPP certificate and form a useful guide to the scope of an IOPP survey. So, there are two formats for this supplement exist. So, the Form A is record of construction and equipment for ships other than oil tankers, and the Form B is record of constructions and equipment for oil tankers. So the Form A is record of construction and equipment for ships other than oil tankers. So particulars of ship, monetary requirements, equipment for the control of oil discharge from machinery, space bilges, and oil fuel tanks, MARPOL Regulation 16 and 14. Means for retention and disposal of oil residues or sludge, MARPOL Regulation 12, and oily bilge water holding tanks. And the Form B is the record of construction and the equipment for oil tankers. So pareha sa kinaunan, particulars of the ship, the equipment for the control of oil discharge from machinery, space bilges, and oil fuel tanks, MARPOL Regulation 16 and 14. So means for retention and disposal of oil residues or sludge, and the MARPOL Regulation 12, and oily bilge water holding tanks. International Pollution Prevention Certificate for the carriage of noxious liquid substances and bulk. The NLS certificate carrying chemicals. Why is it required? So it is required by MARPOL Annex 2. What does it certify? That the ship has been surveyed in accordance with Regulation 8 of Annex 2 of MARPOL, that the survey showed that the structure, equipment, systems, fitting, arrangements, and material of the ship and the condition thereof are in all respects satisfactory, and that the ship complies with the applicable requirements of Annex 2 of MARPOL. So what are NLS categories? So category X, noxious liquid substances which if discharged into sea from tank cleaning or deballasting operations are deemed to present a major hazard to either marine resources or human health, and therefore justify the prohibition of the discharge into the marine environment. So the category Y, noxious liquid substances which if discharged into the sea from tank cleaning or deballasting operation are deemed to present hazard to either marine resources or human health, or cause harm to amenities or other legitimate uses of the sea, and therefore justify a limitation on the quality and quantity of the discharge into the marine environment. So the category Z, noxious liquid substances which if discharged into the sea from tank cleaning or deballasting operations are deemed to present a minor hazard to either marine resources or human health, and therefore justify less stringent restrictions on the quality and quantity of the discharge into the marine environment. So ang category X is present a major hazard. So ang category Y, which is hazardous siya pero dili siya major, and the category Z is a minor hazard. The International Sewage Pollution Prevention or ISPP certificate. It is required by MARPOL Annex 4 regulations for the prevention of pollution by sewage from ships. Ships engage in international voyages that are 400 gross tonnage and above or less than 400 gross tonnage, which are certified to carry more than 15 persons for a period specified by the administration, which shall not exceed 5 years. International Air Pollution Prevention Certificate or IAPPC. IAPPC, keeping the air clean. It is required by Regulation 5 of Annex 6 of MARPOL. Every ship of 400 gross tonnage and above. Indian International Air Pollution Prevention or EIAPP. So the EIAPP certifying the engines. It is the Indian International Air Pollution Prevention Certificate. It is the certificate issued for marine diesel engine. The EIAPP certificate shall accompany the engine throughout its life and shall be available on board the ship at all times. It is required by Technical Code on Control of Emission from nitrogen oxides from marine diesel engine, made mandatory by Annex of MARPOL. So another document, the International Energy Efficiency or IEE certificate. Saving fuel to save the environment. The certificate forms the second aspect of reducing air pollution, that is reducing fuel consumption. It is required by Regulation 5.4 of Annex 6 of MARPOL. Regulation 5.4 of Annex 6 of the Convention, and that the survey shows that the ship complies with the applicable requirements in Regulation 20, Regulation 21, and Regulation 22. The International Anti-Fouling Certificate, removing organotin from the seas. It is required by the International Convention of the Control of Anti-Fouling Systems on Ships on 2001. Anti-fouling system or AFS means a coating, paint, surface treatment, surface, or device that is used on a ship to control prevent attachment of unwanted organisms. Anti-fouling paints are used to coat the bottoms of the ship to prevent sea life such as algae and mollusks attaching themselves to the hull, thereby slowing down the ship and increasing fuel consumptions. So that the ship shall not apply or reapply organotin compounds which act as biocides, and that the ships either shall not bear such as compounds on their hulls and external parts of surface, or shall bear a coating that forms a barrier to such compounds leaching from the underlying not non-compliant and anti-fouling systems. So that's all about the documents of that is used for by the ships in order to comply the annexes. So thank you for watching.